Good morning, my YouTube people, my faithful followers. I want to jump right in this morning, but I do have a funny story. I've been thinking since yesterday about what I've been going to do this morning, and I've been working on this series called A Willing Vessel. And so I wanted to do something kind of incorporating that series. And when YouTube when I typed in the title on YouTube, it said A Willing Beast. So, like with a B, as in beast. So it's a good thing I double checked and proofread before I started here. And we're going to jump right in. I'm going to grab a couple of my bigger brushes here. This one doesn't feel like we kind of got quite all of the paint out the last time, but I have kind of an idea in mind, and I want to start by mixing. These are my paint colors. Some magenta. You can use Dina's, or this is what I have on hand. Brilliant Magenta. It is by Blick. Sorry. And I have orange out, but I'm planning on mixing my own orange. I have some turquoise out and some of my favorite cadmium yellow and some titanium white. And so let's just go to town here and see what we can create this morning. So I don't necessarily need to get those totally blended, but I do want to cover up some of the white here. And the devotion that I've had in mind for this has really been about just being willing, being the person who's willing to pray, being the person who's willing to love. Love can change pretty much everything, even including the state of our country right now. So, wonderful thing to keep in mind. I need some more yellow to mix with my turquoise. I'm thinking that the fact that I'm mixing these two, you don't have to. You can pull out some green gold maybe, or some other colors. Oh, I'm going to add a little blue here. Where's my blue? I'm a little confused sometimes these days because I have a number of these upside down right beside me over here, and it takes me a little bit longer to find stuff. I'm going to pull out some buff color and some gray too, because we're going to add some of that in later. So what I want is kind of a bright stem area, so I'm going to mix, pull this over just a little bit, so I'm going to mix my yellow in with this turquoise, which makes just the most amazing ever green color. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to add just a little bit of white. That looks just a little dark to me. Isn't that just super yummy? Isn't that just super yummy? We're going to just actually going to bring this all the way over to the side here. And a little bit more over here. And then I want a block of blue down here, blue and turquoise down here. Gosh, I hope I remember to tell this story at the end, but as I was looking at my little sketch, my teeny little sketch that I had done one morning, I realized that I didn't have to have leaves on the bottom, that my vessel could actually be just a little bit different shape, etc. So, all right, so that's good. I'm going to rinse out my brush. And as a matter of fact, as that's drying just a little bit, I am going to bring a little gray and beige in around the edges. And I'm just going to put this right on my paper there. And see if I can get just a teeny bit of this to squish out. This gray, I want a whole boatload, which sometimes that comes out a whole boatload at a time. And I find that some of my paints are just not quite thick enough to cover in one coat. It's almost always the case for me. I don't have any beige down there, any buff, I guess it's called. So I'll add some of that down here. Now see how that gray just like jumped in and said, here I am. Like me or not, but that's okay. And I actually take my fingers and just rub some of this in. Rub some of it together. And the nice thing about that is that this kind of coral color here is already dried for the most part. Which is exactly, that was my purpose there. Let me just wipe off my fingers. All right, and I'm gonna grab this scribble stick. Elephant is the color, and I'm gonna actually draw in my flowers, and I think I'll do the top one first. I want to kind of get my bearings on. Where I want all of these to go. Just a pretty graphic flower here, and this is my vessel down here. Just going to make kind of a triangle shape is going to be my vessel. We'll see what we come back in with for those outlines later, but for right now I'm going to just go back over some of these colors. So I'm going to mix up a little bit more of my coral color here. And add just another coat inside of here. And as far as the scribble stick is, remember it is water soluble, so if you touch it, it will lift up a little bit. And I actually want to encourage some of that. All right, one. I need a couple more lights because I'm getting so much more glare. Sorry, I forgot to turn those on. I have one more to turn on. All right, is that color a little bit better? I hope so. I am not at all concerned with the fact that that might be some different, that there might be some different colors. See how that one turned out pretty yellowy? It's okay by me. But what I am going to do, I'm going to grab a sheet of paper and I'm going to just maybe lift up, just bring a little texture in by doing that. How this green comes in on the bottom there. I really like that. I wonder if I can preserve that a little bit. All right, I don't want them all to be yellow, even though I just said the yellow didn't bother me at all, but I want them to be just a pretty coral color. I'm going to try and just leave a little bit of that green down there because I really like that variation coming in. All right, I think the stems are okay, and I even like what's going on down here. I think I can I'll probably make these stems just a little bit thinner. Let's maybe bring a little bit more of this gorgeous color up here into that stem. So this isn't only about being a willing vessel for the Lord, it's also about the fruit that you bear. I'm going to come in and make some just a little bit darker lines. Again, you can smear or not smear. I will probably smear a little bit when I bring in my background. All right, so I am going to bring in just a nice coat of beige and a little bit of gray into the background again, what I do with my gray. This is actually called warm gray, which is a color that I absolutely love. I'm going to go back to my bigger brush to look at that beautiful shadow down there. And I'm going to actually bring some white into this beige too. I love how some of the color is showing through, but I'm not sure I want quite that much showing through. And in order to texturize that, I just learned this trick from Jane Davis, and look at that, look at how beautiful that just pops through there. I hope you can see that in the light. This is a little bit bigger than I like to do when I'm live and trying to not take up too much of your time here at the beginning of the day. Let's bring just a little bit of gray up in that corner. And again, I'm going to lift part of that off. Oops, I guess I grabbed a couple of sheets of paper there. Lovely. Might have to put a little bit more here. Picked up a lot. Paintbrush is getting way too dry there. I'm even going to just bring, this is too dry over here, but just bring just a little bit into the flower here, just to make it kind of blend in on the edges. Feels like a great idea. My gosh, this brush is quite dry. And let's lift some of that off. I should mention I did gesso my paper ahead of time. Because if you don't, it's going to actually bring up some of your paper. Just a little moisture there. And gosh, I kind of like that. Green down here, but my vessel is not going to show up if I don't put something around it. Although I'm sure there are a gazillion ways you could get it to do that. You know, the other thing that I'm going to do just before I wipe that up, I'm going to actually just bring some splatters in. Splatters of water. And see how that actually picked up some of the paint where that splatter was? Just creating a little bit more texture in it. Oh, and look at how that picked it up right there. Isn't that, I just love those that little bit of texture there. So, I want my gray. I'm actually going to grab some oil pastels here that I've been playing with. And I am going to make that gray just a little more. This makes it a very thick line for such a small piece. Is probably part of what I don't like about this, and it'll take forever to dry. Just a warning, just a heads up. But I love that dark gray color. And I'm going to just put a titch of black. Just to emphasize that shadow, the shadows underneath the flowers. And now I'm going to just give it a try here and see if this doesn't show up just a little bit more. And you know, part of working in a series is that then you can kind of go back and just try different things. Try Try using your night scribble stick, maybe. As an outline, or try a different color flower. I dabbed that off a little bit, but I do think I'm going to come back in here and make this just a little. Have that gray oil pastel now on my fingers. It's kind of getting the right, you just kind of keep on going at it until you have really the right, just the feel that you're looking for. So the texture in the background, I could put another coat on there, but I like how some of that shows up, and I'm going to hold it away a little bit. This shape down here kind of reminds me of this. My little vessel reminds me of a Hershey's Kiss, which I think is absolutely wonderful and just so much fun because if you're my goal for today is to give somebody just a hug and a kiss and say, love you just like you are. And that alone, I believe, can change the world. I've been putting some of these dots in lately, and I think I need to think about that before I add something like that. So for right now, I'm going to call this done, and you may just want to check back later and see if there have been any changes to it. And I think I like just the way the gray is there. So don't know that I need to add more. I don't know that I need to add more, period. But I do, actually, I know for sure, I'm going to use up some of this paint and bring some splatters in here at the end. A little more water, perhaps. Putting water and white. Oh, I'm just getting some white on my brush over there. Oh, there's a lot down there. And have some nice big white splatters is what I'm doing there. And I don't know that I needed quite that many on my vessel. But I do know I don't want more gray or black, but I do know I am going to grab this night scribble stick. I'm going to dip it in a little bit of water. That just draws your eye right in, doesn't it? And that's it. We're going to call it a day. The blooming out of the vessel, the fruit coming out of the vessel. Just being a willing vessel. I just leave you with that thought for the day. God bless you all. Thanks for watching, and leave a comment, visit my website, all that stuff I'm supposed to say at the end. God bless you all. Love you. Toodles. God bless.